So we're here to talk through this pretty tricky Sudoku puzzle. It's one that matches a kind of construction mode I use a lot these days, which is to set up almost a Sudoku problem at the start where it's can you even place the first digit by logic, and once you can find how to do that, the rest flows a little more easily but has some neat properties to it. And so this is one that you'll honestly probably have no more sure digits in this puzzle for your first 2 or 3 minutes, but eventually, hopefully your eyes are drawn to the fact that while there are these empty rows and empty columns, which make it hard to make progress, there are also 3 pretty full rows and 3 pretty full columns that can get you started. And the first place that this puzzle is actually set to crack is looking at the columns, so we'll start there. And note that, for instance, in these columns, the missing digits, just marking them down, 3, 4, 6, 5, 6, 9, 2, 6, 9. 6 is intriguingly present in all of those sets, and the 3 cells that are missing in those sets are also in the same rows, respectively, in those columns, which says there's something set up about the digit 6 here. And specifically what it is that if you look at the top, we have 2 6s in the puzzle to start, and they effectively block the top cells in the left and right box. That means you have a 6 here and a 6 there. You don't know which, but it's going to be top and bottom in one orientation. Collectively, they leave just one spot for a 6 in this column at the top. The remaining digits now have one option, so the very first place to start in this puzzle is to get this column, and you may enter this, or one of these digits first, depending if you're looking at the 6 or looking at the fact the 6s eliminate and leave only one option there, but the crack is to look specifically there. And then the next couple of steps really have to do with just looking at the progress that those numbers give you, particularly up top. That at the very start of the puzzle you might have written these 2 notes, that an 8 was in one of these cells, a 1 was in one of these cells, and a 5 was in one of those 2 cells, but now we're actually in a state where the 5 is obviously at the top, so we can get the rest of the column. In the top, you'll notice now, if you've marked the columns carefully, that this is set up a 2-9 pair at the top. So specifically, there's no 9 in these cells, so a 9 is in one of these 2. Following that down and looking at the elimination, we can place a 9 here. Taking those across, we can place a 9 here. In the bottom, we don't know which of these 2 cells is the 9, but it's in the bottom row, and so we can place that digit, and so that's intended progress for this point. And we hadn't looked at these rows yet, but they're now set up to do some cool things. The first simplest thing is that the top row can be finished once you place that 9 in this way. But the bottom rows now have set up another pair. And if you looked at the start, there was a 3, 6, 9 missing in those. We placed the 9s, and so actually in this column there's now an elimination of the 3 and 6 to the top, which says a 3 has to be in one of these cells. But there's also the fact that, and we hadn't marked this yet, if you looked carefully at this space, and you might at some point, the 7 and 8 coming across and coming to the top have to be in these 2 cells, and so collectively the presence of that 7-8 pair and this 3 coming up limits your options to be these 2, and those now work together to get you farther into the puzzle. Specifically, this 4 gets you those digits. Knowing this is a 6 now clears up the remaining digits in these rows. The 3 we've just placed gives us that. This needs a 2, 9, but we have a 9 in that column, so we've finished that section up. We still don't know exactly what's happening here, but if this is a 2, 9, we place that one. That's a 9. The 1, 4 is trivial. I'll just place my normal notes. I'm sort of now not remembering the exact path, but we'll find it pretty quickly. It looks like the 6s, which is the digit I've been ignoring for a while, is the right digit to come back to in this column, which is mostly empty. We can place the 6 down there. Also the 6 up top, that gives us this 4, 4. We have an 8, 5. The 5 is going to push this note down. Gives us the 7, 8 at the top. And I'm sure by this point, if you got through it, you'll be able to finish just fine yourself. But, this was a fun puzzle to construct. It's not too easy to leave behind such a constrained starting point that is really hard to crack, but I hope you found the really interesting deduction in the columns and you made your way all the way through to the end and enjoyed this puzzle. Thanks.